Oh no. People are doing it again, guys. They're doing it. They're making MMOs on Kickstarter. Please. Please, why is this still a thing? We've got 6 when you search for the mmorpg tag. We've got Descendants of the Gods, an mmorpg. Soul Piece, a One Piece X Bleach X mmorpg Roblox game. I just almost vomited in my mouth. Edenfall, the first dark gothic fantasy MMO. Virtual Gamer Marketplace. I mean, who would want to buy a gamer? They fucking stink. Building the foundations for Metalis, Back to the Roots. And Medieval Life, a new sandbox MMORPG. None of these are going to get funded, ever. Like, if you look at normal game genres and stuff like that and see how much money they're raising, they actually get money. Nobody in 2023 is crowdfunding an MMO. It's just not happening. I'm here to tell you that right off the rip. But let's take a look. Let's go through them, I guess. Let's do that to ourselves. Descendants of the Gods, an MMORPG. Mute the music. Oh, they're only asking for the low price of $300,000. So a reasonable amount. Elf Race by the Water. Okay. Let's find some combat. Let's see what we're doing. So I say this every single time, and there's always indie developers that show up and get quite upset that I'm saying this. But I'm still going to say it anyway. Nothing about your feelings is going to change the facts of reality. You're not making an MMO as an indie developer, without funding, without previous games shipped, and without a team. Like, you're just not. What you're making is a game that you will say is an MMO, but there will never be a full release of the game that has a population that would make it an MMO. The ones that have happened like 10 years ago. Of the ones that have been tried, I think in the last sort of like 8 or 9 years, Albion Online is pretty much the only one, and they had some money, and they also got in roughly when crowdfunding was still available and people were still willing to buy things to try and get an MMO made. I think nowadays, if your goal is to crowdfund, you're too late. You're shit out of luck. Unless something massive changes, like perception. The thing is that there's only like a finite amount of people who even use Kickstarter and know it exists, and the people who know it exists and have used it before flat out will not fund MMOs. They just won't. It doesn't happen. I've looked at all of these projects. They never get funded, and they never will. Even ones that don't ask for a whole bunch of money, people are just done on it. Unless you show up and you're like, we have a game right now, you can log on and play, here's the demo, and it's fucking mind-blowing, which means you're already multiple years worth of multiple people's work into the project. Nobody's giving you money to finish it. Like, that's just how it is. So what you need to do if you're going to make an MMO is make another game, have it be really good, take off, make money, hire a team, and parlay that into either investors, VC, or just turning that revenue directly into another game, or make it without any money, which means I can quite realistically tell you that 99.99999% chance it fails and never materializes. I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm not saying that to be a dick, I'm saying that because I sincerely believe that that is good advice for anybody who's trying to do this. Make a different game, don't make an MMO. Especially because, as you say here, being straight up and honest with you, I'm a single developer who loves MMOs. My true background is in IT, mostly hardware related, and I've been working on this game for almost 3 years by myself. I've not been happy with the MMOs coming out, and I want to make one that people can enjoy. This is the same story, everyone, because I don't doubt the passion of people who want to make an MMO, because I've even thought about it, obviously, before I started doing YouTube and started looking into all these projects and knew I could never do it, because 1, I don't have the technical acumen to do so. 2, people just don't understand how much is involved in making a game, let alone an MMO. And 3, I don't have the money to do it. So I understand there's passionate people out there that want to do this. But unless something massive changes, like AI making you be able to turn one person's time and effort into an exponential factor that could build a game out real quick. I know obviously with better engines, with better assets, availability of assets, that's becoming more and more realistic. But for an MMO, there's just too much content required. There just simply is. So while I don't want to be the dream crusher, though I do end up being the dream crusher in a lot of these videos for crowdfunding, I'd turn this into like a learning experience. If those 3 years were learning about game dev and stuff like that, and then just make a single player RPG. Then if that does well, expand it into co-op. And then if that does well, maybe you can expand it even into more co-op. Aside from that, though, I don't think this is ever realistic. Maybe a Roblox game would be. I actually think looking at things like Roblox and the new Fortnite creative thing could, oh, Jesus Christ, could open the doors to making games like this with the infrastructure that already exists and with the tools that already exist, and empowering people like small teams to make something much bigger than what they would have otherwise been able to. I don't think even... I think there's a multiplication on game dev in general. And what I mean by that is, if you hit on something that people really like and have a really fervent fan base, you can sort of multiply the exposure and the money you can raise. And One Piece, Bleach, and just weebs in general is a real big multiplying factor. But I don't think those things are even going to factor into this one, mate. You're asking for $1,000 to make an MMO. What are you going to do with that, mate? Buy one graphics card? I don't think so, mate. Edenfall, the first Dark Gothic fantasy MMO. It is true we don't get a lot of Dark Gothic fantasy MMOs, but then again, up until the last couple of years, we don't really get a lot of new MMOs, full stop. All right.
Metaverse mmorpg.
Oh, fuck. Why did I just unmute it then? I unmuted it at the perfect time. That wasn't scripted at all.
World's first Gothic fantasy metaverse mmorpg.
Why are you saying that? Why metaverse? Just call it an MMO. If at any point I'm going to be the boomer stood on my lawn shaking my... I ain't got a lawn, but you know what I mean. Shaking my fist at the sky. If companies sincerely come out... Because, you know, companies do sort of drive the discourse in terms of changing and adopting tags for games. Like, they'll call their game an MMO, and they've been doing this for years, and then it's not an MMO. If companies decide that they're going to start making MMOs and they're going to start just calling them metaverses, I'm fucking out, mate. I'm out. I am on quite a high floor. I'll be diving out my window. Is this just somebody talking, or is there gameplay? So it's just images of, you know, if you love Twilight, if you want to be a shiny boy, this is probably for you. I actually don't mind Dark Gothic fancy, to be honest, but if you're asking for $30,000 to make an MMO, a metaverse in your words, I don't even know how you use the term metaverse and then don't have cryptocurrency attached to it. Control F crypto. Control F NFT. So we have one mention of metaverse. Do we have any blockchain? No. So they don't mention crypto or anything, but I just don't understand why you'd sully yourself with the mention of metaverse. That's basically just like walking into the room after you've just liquid diarrhea shit your pants and then asking if anybody wants to hug you or something. Like, there's no reason to do this. This only harms your credibility. And you already had none anyway, because you come into Kickstarter asking people for money to make an MMO. Medieval Life, new sandbox MMO. No trailer. Just a bunch of images and a bunch of words. I'm not going to read all of it because you know exactly what I'm going to say throughout. So you can spend 5,000 euros on this. Only 3 of you can, though, so you've got to get in quick because it is limited. Only 3 of you can also get an unconquerable private city, a unique avatar, and 125 arcane seals. So apparently they've been working on the game for 2 years already, and they're saying that we can promise everything in this campaign, so we're not promising you anything that we can't guarantee. On the contrary, we intend to listen to the community and make everything possible with the utmost transparency. That's amazing, but nobody knows who you are. You've got, as far as I can see, no links to anything playable. No gameplay footage, just a couple screenshots. No information on who works for the company. There's nothing transparent about this. And for that reason, I'm out. Mortalis, back to the roots. Is this going to be an old school focused MMO? A new MMO with the aim of rebuilding civilization on a strange and hostile planet. Oh, they actually have videos. Cool. This has an interesting looking art style for the concept art, but if all you've got is concept art, oh man, a credit card. The humans look fucking weird. Oh, so the main challenge is to get critical mass of backers who believe in us even before the coding of the game begins. So I've said this a million times. People that are coming to Kickstarter with an idea, they're not wrong. I personally, of course, would never back anything that's at the idea stage, but that is literally what Kickstarter's for, to kickstart things. So coming in saying, this is our idea, here's all our concept art, here's our design briefs, whatever, that is what Kickstarter had in mind when the project began. And obviously it's always a risk, no matter what, backing at any stage. You can buy a game in early access now, and while you still do get a product which is definitely infinitely better for you as a consumer, you are still basically buying into uncertainty. It's just what level of uncertainty are you okay with? Because even, to be honest, buying AAA games now is buying a level of uncertainty, because as we've seen, not a month goes by where a company that's worth billions of dollars or, tens of millions of dollars doesn't release a dog shit, terribly optimized, unfinished, buggy, day one DLC, just pile of actual human feces. So there's almost no safety, but of course one's on one end of the spectrum and one's on the complete opposite end. So I don't mind that people post stuff like this. I don't think people are scamming by posting things like this. I just think that ship has long since sailed, and I just don't know who this is for anymore. It does suck, because realistically, if you had 1,000 MMO projects get backed, I'm sure one or two of them would succeed. But the problem is that that's just a failure rate that nobody's ever going to be okay with. Because so far, what we've seen from games that have been crowdfunded is almost none of them have done anything. Albion, of course, being one of the big examples. But like Dual Universe, Crowfall, Camelot Unchained, Chronicles of Valeria, Titan Reach. Like, we could go on with the list. You could just go through the history of Kickstarter, and it's not really worked out. The best success is Star Citizen, which I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to do it to myself again. Although it is funny whenever I want to do like a Kira Reed's angry comment section, I can almost guarantee any video I mention Star Citizen, if I go into the hell for review section of YouTube, there will just be a lot of people that are upset that I mentioned objective facts about Star Citizen, that it is in fact not fully released yet, and they are in fact $550 million over budget, and about 9 years over the time that they said everything was going to be delivered by, with still missing features. But there we go. I think we can end it there. I think this other one is not an MMO. It's just a place it's just a place where you can rent gamers, which is a little bit cringe, but also games do this in general, like to have like a mentor system, mentee system. And I think the only virtual gamer marketplaces we've had have typically been aimed at lonely people that want to rent e-girls, which, shoot your shot king, do all that good stuff. Personally, no interest in it, but it does make for some funny stories. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Please do what you want. People are going to tell me, Kira, who are you? Who's not a game developer to tell anyone to do anything on Kickstarter? They can make whatever games they want. Yeah, they can. So do it. Make the game, I guess. But obviously, I'm going to also make the video that says probably not worth funding these ever. And if they don't like it, they can just not watch. So there we go. More MMOs on Kickstarter. Fuck knows why at this stage. I'm very sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but your feelings don't change what the news is. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out.